Welcome to another TLB Marketing Essentials video tutorial, and this one is going to mark the start of our WordPress series, and we're going to start off by just talking about the benefits of using WordPress. So recently I started to build a website for a client, and she was adamant that she did not want a blog on her website. So that's okay. We started building the site using WordPress and did not incorporate a blog into that website. However, when I mentioned WordPress down the road and she realized it was built on WordPress, she was furious and said, I don't want a blog, because she was under the misunderstanding that because it's on WordPress, it is a blog. Let's clarify. A blog is a website and a website is a blog. So blogging software such as WordPress based websites are now the new evolution of how websites are constructed, and even the largest corporations out there have their websites constructed using WordPress. You can have a blog on your website or not have a blog on your website. However, you can still use WordPress to build that website. It is one of the fastest growing platforms out there, and it's an open source platform, meaning that the developer is not one single developer creating all the software and updates and plugins. There's actually multiple developers. In fact, there's thousands of developers out there creating themes and plugins and different things that add functionality to your website. And because of that, it is evolving very fast as well. So you can usually be rest assured that anything that you want to do on your website, it's not something you have to spend thousands of dollars getting a coder to design some new functionality, because chances are there's already a plugin out there that'll do exactly what you require. We've talked about this before, that your blog is your information hub. So if you're sending out an email newsletter, for instance, you want to have, instead of a 10-page newsletter, you want to have snippets of information that draw them back to your website or the blog on your website, because of course I do believe having a blog on the site. So for instance, you may have a teaser paragraph with a read more link in your email newsletter. When they click that read more link, it brings them back to the blog on your website. And from there, after they read the article, you want them to peruse the rest of your website and see what other products and services that you offer, of course. You want it also to be the hub that holds all of the information that you're sharing on the web through Pinterest, Facebook, article marketing, review sites, YouTube, Google+, Twitter, and anything else on the web. So you always want your information housed on that blog on your website so that you're drawing traffic back to your site where you should be creating your conversions. So if you've got an e-commerce site, you want to be making sales. If you have a store that is a traditional shop, you want to get them in the door, and so you want to find ways to drive traffic, but we always want to get them back to that website. Now, a few more things about WordPress. Great way to save money. Back in the day, again, when a developer had your site locked on their computer and you had no access to it, you had to pay every time you wanted to make a change to your operating hours, update your information, add a blog post if you had some sort of functionality there, or add new pages or whatever. You were always having to put out that money. WordPress is quite easy to use, so once you've mastered that quick learning curve, and particularly once it's already set up for you, it's very easy to go in and add or edit these simple things. So you're going to save money there. Accessibility is phenomenal. You can make changes and add content from any computer in the world. So let's say you're on vacation in France, you suddenly notice a mistake on your site and you want to change it quickly, or you realize you really want to add a blog while you're on the road, some fantastic. You can do that from any internet coffee shop. It doesn't matter if you've got your own computer with you. You can make changes wherever you are. So your speed of communication, because you're not waiting days for your designer to make those basic changes for you, your communication is up and your website is fresh and updated. WordPress is great for consistency. You can easily add new pages and keep that consistent design. So there's one thing some people have been a little frustrated with when they've gone and started learning to use their WordPress site, and they see that they can't go into a page and alter, for instance, the font on that page for the regular paragraph. They now want to use Times New Roman when they were using Candera before. Well, WordPress is really all about keeping these sites professional, classy, and consistent. So we choose a theme, or sorry, not a theme, but we choose these basic protocols for the whole site. So all of your headings, for instance, will be the same font, the same color, the same size, whether they're bold or narrow. All of your paragraphs, again, are going to be the same font, the same size, so you have that consistency throughout. So you never have to worry if you have even 3 different people supplying content for your website. You know that if they go in, there's going to be that consistency. People aren't going to be playing around with different fonts and different sizes and have your website look like a big hodgepodge. You have increased time management because you can also schedule posts to publish on whatever day or time you want. So let's say you've got some 12-part series, you can go in, put them all in at once, and just schedule them to go out once a week or once a month or whatever it is that you want to do. Ease of, say, membership sites or map software or scheduling online, booking a room online. All of these things are so easy to do because of the plugins that are out there. And plugins range from, you know, as inexpensive, well, some are free. There's some that are like $19 for a one-time fee. Others are in the hundreds of dollars. But it is usually very inexpensive. Most plugins are under $100 for all of these added functionalities. It's very social networking friendly, so of course you can easily add all your social networking buttons, add share buttons, so it's really easy for people to share. And you can even schedule for a post that as soon as it's been posted on your website, it automatically gets published to your social networking sites as well. You can easily add audio and video to your posts and pages so that you're engaging with all of the current media that you have out there, say on YouTube, for instance. And WordPress is also very SEO friendly. So the construction of WordPress blog code is consistent and streamlined without excessive HTML code that Google finds very inviting for indexing. There's also some great plugins out there that give the layperson who doesn't have a lot of SEO knowledge very easy use of how to do that. It tells you exactly what you need to do to improve your page, and so it's, without being an SEO expert, you can easily make your website more search engine optimized. You can add pages and your navigation very easily, again, just a few clicks. So we will go through tutorials on how to do all of that, and you'll see just how easy it is. Very fast learning curve. The biggest learning curve is actually just setting up your theme and getting your site set up. However, once you've done that, and that's the part you often will hand off to a designer, if you want to do it yourself, there's definitely a learning curve there, but once your site is set up, it's actually really easy to go in and add some pages, add some pictures to your gallery, add some retailers to your retailer map, add team members and add blogs. It's very easy to do that. So if you are used to using Microsoft Word, you'll be able to use WordPress no problem. There is improved security now in WordPress, so much so that it can, if set up correctly, can actually be a lot more hacker-proof than the old traditional HTML website. And there is automated syndication, so people can subscribe to your RSS feeds and never miss one of your blog posts. So because it is, again, open source platform and there's so many developers creating different themes and plugins for WordPress, you get increased functionality with a much lower cost. So for instance, we'll just talk about your theme. You can pick a theme in WordPress. One of my favorite sites is themeforest.net, where I purchase most of my themes. Now, a theme is not a cookie cutter where you just drag and drop pictures and whatnot into it. You still have to do all of your setup for your site, but what it does is it gives you all the background coding necessary to do all the things that you see in that theme. So when you like a theme and you want to purchase that, everything that you see in that demo live version of the theme you can do, but you do have to set it all up, but the coding's been done for you. So that theme, if you were to get a coder to just start from scratch and create that for you, you may spend thousands and thousands of dollars getting him to just do all that coded from scratch. When you purchase a theme, you can purchase one for anywhere from $48 to $60 for a theme to get you started. Now, if you want to learn to do it yourself, that's all it's going to cost you to get started. If you get a developer to do it, of course, it is very time consuming. And there definitely is a lot of setup involved. So then in that case, you are going to spend, depending on your site, anywhere from $1,000 to several $1,000s. You know, they can be upwards of $20,000 still, depending on your site and you know, the amount of time involved in creating it. But you are still going to save a lot of money by having, you know, like a theme that's put out there, and the developer is making money every time that theme is sold, instead of doing it as a one-time job and having to make their thousands off of the one-time job. Great multi-user capability, so you can add someone with different privileges. So an admin, for instance, can do anything on your site from changing themes to editing code, whereas you may have someone as an editor or a contributor or several different roles that they can come in, and say you have someone who is just allowed to log in to do a blog post, and you can see when different people have, you know, gone in to make edits, and you can see who's edited those pages or added a page, etc. There are free upgrades usually to your theme. WordPress always has free upgrades, and your plugins always have those upgrades as well. So you're not, unless you have your developer doing the upgrade for you, of course there'd be a fee on that, but the software upgrades themselves, there's no cost to those. So unlike when you buy a program for your computer, and when there's, you know, 3 versions later, you're going to have to pay for that new program. It is a universal platform. So that means that, say for instance, your designer fell off the face of the earth and you need somebody else to go in and change your site, refresh it, make some changes for you. Anybody can use that platform. If you have someone who's built it from scratch on their computer in HTML, there's usually not another web developer or coder who is going to want to go in and take over that site. So this is great. Something happens and you are never up the creek. One thing I do recommend is that you do have an admin privilege to your site. So if someone's building it for you, then you get them to make you an admin, so that should anything ever happen to your web designer, you always have the ability to at least give that login to another web designer. Now, if you're worried about messing something up on your site, it's a great idea to get your web developer to give you an admin code that you just put in safekeeping, so that if anything were to happen and you need some major changes, major programming, or you want something completely changed, a new theme, and you don't feel comfortable doing it yourself, you can hand that login over to a new developer. However, just have, you know, a sign-in for yourself that gives you a few less privileges, and you know you can't mess anything up. It's really easy to keep your website fresh when you've built it on WordPress, because changing out a theme is really not as much work as getting a coder to start from scratch building you an all new website. You can import your posts so that, you know, if you've got posts going back 5 years, all of those are just simply updated in the new theme. So much, much easier to keep it fresh. It's a lot easier too, even if it is a seasonal thing and you want to just freshen up that website. There's autosave features, so you've got things saved as a draft as you go, even if you haven't published it to the web yet. And most websites these days, most themes that you can purchase through sites like themeforest.net are mobile ready. Now, not all of them are, so I highly recommend that when you go in, that you look for a site that is called responsive. And that is really important because so many people are viewing your website from a mobile device these days. You want to make sure that your website is viewable on a mobile device, and the menu is going to look different. So if you can see in the video here, your standard website is going to be a little hard to navigate on a smartphone, whereas a mobile-friendly site is going to have a different navigation menu and much easier to view on a smartphone. So this is really, really, really important. In the old days, you used to have 2 versions of your site built for this. Now these themes are responsive, and they will respond to whatever device they are being viewed on. And usually those sites are no more expensive than a one that is not responsive. There's also plugins that you can purchase to make your site printable. So if you've got content you think people are going to print, then you simply look at those types of plugins that are going to make your site printable. Whereas back in the day, you know, if you've ever tried to print from older websites, that could be pretty cumbersome. So lots of fantastic reasons to choose WordPress. The next few video tutorials are going to go into how to actually set up your site and then how to add pages, add posts, and make different changes to your site. So we will see you in the next video.